White people have always felt that they had jurisdiction over the black body. It goes back to the plantation days, Art. The problem with this case is the stand your ground law was meant for white people to be used against black people.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is British Sinead, and I debated on how I wanted to do this video, but I think I'm gonna do a 2-for-1 for y'all. Because this is a story that I want to talk about, or stories that tell of two lives. This is America. I'm pretty sure by now everyone has heard about the woman who unalived her husband, Telvin Osborne.
Why did police wait to arrest his girlfriend? And if this was not an accident, why is Hannah Cobb not facing a harsher charge? According to police, in the early hours of Sunday, February 23rd, 25-year-old Hannah Cobb shot and killed Telvin in the master bedroom of their home, a home which they shared with their 2 children.
It's just very tragic that he has lost his life in this manner.
In a news conference obtained by WJBF News, Burke County Sheriff Alfonso Williams said the shooting happened after a night of drinking and an argument that turned physical. But how did the gun come into play? Well, according to an incident report obtained by Law and Crime, Cobb allegedly told police that sometime after they returned home, she was checking her firearm, something she claimed the couple did together every night. But get this, despite the incident report clearly stating that Cobb allegedly said she was cleaning her gun when it fired.
And I'm pretty sure we all heard about Karmelo Anthony in the state of Texas, who was getting bullied by these 2 white boys, and he was defending himself. So I want to first touch on the Hannah Cobb story with Telvin Osborne. So we all know the spill when it comes to that, right? Telvin Osborne was a self-hating black man who rather do bestiality than to engage sexually with someone who looked like him, because he didn't like himself, he didn't love himself, he didn't like how he looked, right? He didn't like the culture, or whatever the case may be. We know that. Girl, I just sip my coffee. It's cold now, but I still need it. And so we know that. And so the story that we were told, right, as it pertains to Telvin Osborne, is that his wife, Hannah, a white woman, after coming from a nightclub, was cleaning her pew-pew, her 9mm, and it accidentally went off. Girl, no one believed that story. No one bought that story. It sounded fishy from the get-go, from the jump off. And that was her story, and she was sticking to it, right? Until she started getting real and she got charged for unaliving her husband. And so the story unfolds from going to numerous court hearings, I guess, that she was not cleaning her pew-pew at 5 o'clock in the morning after the club, but in fact, she and Telvin were arguing, and apparently it was a physical or DV type of situation or relationship where they argued all the time. I'm assuming DV occurred for it to have escalated the way that it did. But we have since found out, or what we are now hearing, is that they argued. He sent some text that the prosecutors even presented, or either it might have been the prosecutors or it could have been a defense team. I would assume it was the defense team or the defense lawyers for her. But basically there was a text message where he told her she better hide. Like, you better hide. She put him out the house. They were arguing. He broke back into the house. The argument is still going on. And she runs into a bathroom with her pew-pew and says that she's going to unalive herself. And Telvin kicks down the door, breaks down the door, gets in the bathroom, whatever the case may be, and she's sitting there like, ha ha. Well, this is my brain, right? I'm gonna tell you what I think how it happened. But he goes in, she shoots him one good time, and he's out of there, right? And so they took all of this evidence, presented it to a grand jury, and they chose to not indict her. There was no bill. Now, this happened in the state of Georgia. I feel like, and this is just my opinion, first of all, we know that she's not credible. She has lied to authorities already. I'm inclined to believe if she did threaten to unalive herself and Telvin walked in the bathroom, right? She did it, she said it with a nefarious undertone of, I'm gonna get this N-word and he's gonna come in here thinking I'm gonna unalive myself, but really I'm gonna pull the trigger on him. That's just what I think happened, right? And I'm a nobody on the internet that just does professional yapping, but that's just what I'm inclined to believe because she's already not credible. She's lied to the authorities and she's gonna lie and say whatever she has to do to basically protect herself, right? And she basically is walking free. And if new evidence does come up, right, then she could be charged. But the DA, their hands are tied, whatever they feel like. The grand jury has spoken. This is it. They feel like, this was a justifiable homicide. This was self-defense. It was arguably a DV situation that was happening and she was protecting herself. She was in the bathroom. He got in the bathroom as she was trying to hide, whatever the case may be, and she did what she had to do to protect herself. And I'm like, girl, don't they have kids? I'm thinking, don't they have children? Like, and y'all acting like this. Y'all all out, but I'm assuming their kids weren't there because they was at a nightclub apparently, because the argument started because she thought that Telvin was talking to another girl, another woman or whatever. But I find it interesting that this was found in the realms of self-defense. But if we just go a couple of states over to Texas, we have the Karmelo Anthony story. And now if you guys are familiar with Karmelo Anthony, this is a 17-year-old child who was at a track meet. This was in April, I want to say April. So last month, maybe a month and a half ago, in the beginning of April, was at a track meet. And there were two white boys, Austin and Hunter, twin brothers. Now let me paint a picture for you. It's raining, they're at a track meet. Karmelo, 160 pounds, is running in the rain. He was told apparently by the coach for this other team that the two white boys went to that he can get under the tent so that he can no longer get wet, so he can get dry, right? And so as he's under the tent, these two white boys, Austin and Hunter, are bullying him. They're bullying him so much so that one of them snatched his backpack, knocked his phone out of his hand, tells him he can't stay underneath the tent, even though he was given authority by the coach for their team to get under the tent. Now, Austin and Hunter are 225 pound football players. And they are, I don't know if a fight broke out or they were fighting him or whatever the case may be. I'm just painting a picture for y'all. But imagine a 160 pound boy versus two football players, 220, 225 pounds, trying to fight you. And who knows, it could have been more. It could have been a team of like white boys ganging up on him. But we know we have the two twin brothers from what I'm hearing in the streets. I don't know. I'm hearing that the media ain't telling us the whole story. So I'm telling y'all what I've heard, and I'm going to insert clips from what I heard on these internet streets.
Now, the media is being dishonest about this situation, Art. The media is claiming that this was a one-to-one fisticuff between Hunter, and Karmelo. I'm going to say between one of the brothers because I keep getting the names mixed up. I believe it was Hunter, and I do want to say rest in peace to him. My condolences to his father, his family. Nobody deserves to lose a child. Black, white, red, yellow, or brown, nobody deserves to lose a child, not at that age, regardless of who fault it was. I'm sorry they lost their child. Condolences to the family. So R.I.P. Hunter comes and engages Karmelo with his brother Austin. Hunter and Austin tell Karmelo, you're under the wrong tent, get from under the tent. Karmelo says, I'm just trying to stay dry or get dry. Leave me alone. Hunter, rest in peace, smacks the phone out of Karmelo's hand. He smacks the phone out of his hand, and the other brother, Austin, allegedly, goes to get his book back. Now, Art, I want to put this in perspective for you, Art. Karmelo Anthony is 160 pounds. Rest in peace, Hunter is 225-pound football player. Hunter is nearly 60, 70 pounds heavier than Karmelo by himself. But he was not by himself, Art. Hunter was with his brother Austin. Austin is around Hunter's size as well. So what you have in this situation, Art, is a 160-pound skinny black boy minding his business. And here comes two racist white boys who decide that they're going to remove this black boy from their tent with force. So you got to ask yourself something, Art. If I'm a 160-pound black boy, two white boys in racist Texas, both of whom are 60 to 70 pounds heavier than me, they come to accost me physically, knock my phone out my hand, try to grab my bag, try to throw me out. The media is making you think it's only one. But guess what, Art? I've been text messaged by eyewitnesses. I have received text messages from eyewitnesses. And you know what they told me, Art? They said both brothers tried to jump Karmelo. Both brothers tried to jump Karmelo. This was not a one-on-one fight. It was 2-on-1, but Austin doesn't want to tell the truth because if he tells the truth, Art, that helps Karmelo to establish his right to stand his ground. In the state of Texas, Art, you have the right to stand your ground. You know what that means? That means you have no duty to flee when you are approached by somebody trying to harm you. In the state of Texas, you do not have to run. In the state of Texas, if somebody is approaching to harm you, you have no duty to run. And if you feel that your life or safety is in imminent danger, you have a right to defend yourself, to include using deadly force. So when you hear people say, why didn't he run? First of all, it was raining. So I assume the ground was wet. These two boys, troublemakers, respectfully, but they were troublemakers. They were athletes, so I'm sure they could run as well. But more than that, Art, Texas's stand your ground law did not require Karmelo to run. He had a right to stand and defend himself. And I'm going to say that if I am Karmelo Anthony's lawyer, I am arguing to the jury. My client felt that his safety was in imminent threat, that he felt he was about to be harmed by two football-playing brothers, both of whom weighed 60 to 70 pounds more than him, and with a combined weight, Art, of nearly 500 pounds. A combined weight, these two brothers, Austin and Hunter, of nearly 500 pounds against this one skinny 160-pound black boy, Karmelo. Under those circumstances, Art, I believe that he had a right to stand his ground. If I'm 160 pounds and two football-playing brothers with a combined weight of more than 400, nearly 500 pounds are coming to jump me, and I'm only 160 pounds, and I'll warn them, touch me again and see what happens. He's warning them, Art. He's warning them. I don't want no trouble. But if y'all think y'all going to hurt me and do damage to me, I'm going to do whatever I can to protect myself. And according to the law, Art, he was within his right to do so. I don't think he intended to kill the brother. I think he just intended to jab him so he would back off. But when you are afraid, when you are scared, when you are timid, when you are fighting for your life, Art, you will do anything. How many women have shot and killed domestically abusive husbands and didn't do it on purpose? How many women have shot and killed domestically abusive husbands, but they didn't do it on purpose? They did it out of fear that I need to act before he acts. And if I miss, I might die. He could have been beat to death that day, Art. Karmelo Anthony could have been beat to death that day, and instead he chose to stand his ground. So what's the problem then, Art? Why are white folks all up in arms over this? Y'all wasn't up in arms when Breonna Taylor got murdered. Y'all wasn't up in arms when Trayvon got murdered. Y'all wasn't up in arms with Freddie Gray or Philando Castile or Tamir Rice or Sandra Bland. Y'all wasn't up in arms with Amir Locke.
To kind of validate, like, this is where I'm getting the information from. Nevertheless, bullied him, threatened his person, and he had to do what he had to do to protect himself. He had to do what he had to do. And so we know Texas has to stand your ground law, where you can use force if you believe force, whether it's deadly force or whatever force, if you believe that you are in imminent danger or in harm, right? And so therefore it is considered self-defense or justifiable, or it can be considered justifiable homicide if you are standing your ground and defending yourself if you believe that you are in imminent danger or harm. And one can say that he was. It was at least 2 boys that were way more than him, football players, so they're exercising, doing weights, and it's and they can just destroy him. But he had enough confidence and enough courage in himself to defend himself. And so y'all, it has basically a racial divide has started, because I'm hearing, I haven't seen it, but I saw it like on social media, that he has now since been charged with first-degree murder. Even though he had an argument for self-defense and justified, like it was a justifiable homicide, he had to stand his grounds. But the DA's office still chose to move forward with prosecuting him on first degree. And I'm like, whew, like what other, because and this is just me, like, so in order to like be charged with first degree, there has to be some sort of other, usually a predicate crime that has been committed besides like the murder itself. Say if it's like a kidnap or a robbery, it's usually something else involved. So I'm just wondering, because at the most I thought it could have been like second degree, where you don't have to have a predicate crime or anything else added to charge with first degree. But I don't know what the predicate crime or whatever else, which would add to the elements of meeting first degree murder for him. But that's really tough. And then on top of that, you guys, he is a juvenile. So my understanding, he's still 17 and he's being charged as an adult, which can happen for very serious crimes. And so being that someone's life was taken away, this gives them. So some of the things that have happened is that Karmelo's family has since moved from their home to a temporary home. The judge herself, who gave him bond to be released, allowed his bond to be released and he can get out. She has been subject to scrutiny as well and had to get security, because this is a very dangerous case with a lot of racial bias. Because truth be told, if the shoe was on the other foot, let's just call a spade a spade. If Karmelo Anthony was a white boy getting picked on by 2 bigger black boys, and the smaller white guy unalived one of the black guys to defend himself because he had enough courage and confidence within himself to protect his life, they would have been like, oh, they shouldn't have been bothering him. That's just what they get, right? So there's racial biasness in this case. From what I'm hearing, it is self-defense for Karmelo Anthony. And a lot of people are standing by him, and rightfully so. Until we can figure out, because this is going to be a case that's going to go to trial. It's not going to go to trial anytime soon, especially since he's not incarcerated. So there's not a need to push for a speedy trial. So we can probably say that we're going to be looking at a criminal trial for him. What year in? 2020, maybe around 2027, late 2026, maybe. But this is a case that has sparked a lot of controversy. There is a lot. There are white protest groups that have been speaking out on behalf of the child who lost his life, which is unfortunate, and I want to just say that as well. It's unfortunate for any parent to lose their child, and it's unfortunate for anyone to lose their family member, right? It's sad. And so and the family for Karmelo was speaking out at one point, did do press conferences, and like Austin's father showed up. I think his name is Austin. Austin's father showed up to the protest. And in my mind, it was an attempt to intimidate the family, you know, which is the apple don't fall too far from the tree, because you're essentially trying to bully this child's father just like your sons were bullying this child, which is how this whole thing started. Because had your children not been bothering Karmelo, none of this wouldn't have been happening. Karmelo would not have had to stand his ground. But I still wanted to talk about this story because I felt like it was very important. He was not committing any crime, especially given just standing under Hannah Cobb so that she could prevent himself from getting whatever he got to walk free from a crime that she has committed. And he was scared for his life, and he had to do what he needed to do. Yeah, I think it's wild. It's wild. It's sad. This is one of those cases where I feel like this is a can't say what's going to happen to Karmelo Anthony's Hannah Cobb, the white woman who you know is going to unalive her husband. Child's going to have to lie to the authorities about it. There has to be a fair. And then came up with another story and said that she pupiled him as unbiased. And we have this child, this black boy who is a child, and you know how you can usually tell how was scared for his life in a case is going to go by looking at the jury, right? That's what both cases are in this selection is the most see that he is the most being charged part of a trial because it can be apparently is first degree murder, and that's something is what it is that we can talk about another time. Like I've been looking for. You can tell that in that case how it's gonna go just by looking at the jurors. So I don't know how accurate the first degree murder is. Legal tea for y'all. But yeah, I'm trying to think what else. I know so Karmelo is graduating high school as well. So I want to talk about this too. So that was an issue, I guess, that they were going to try to prevent this child from graduating high school. Even though he met the graduation requirements, he's graduating with a 3.7. The father, I guess, scheduled an appointment with the superintendent, but the superintendent is not going to be able to give you any information about this child and whatever, if they reprimanded him in any way. And he did not get expelled because he has not been convicted of anything. And I don't know what information his father thinks he's going to get out of the superintendent, but legally the superintendent, he or she, cannot divulge any information about this child. So, and you can't get expelled unless you have a hearing. You have to have a hearing, you know, at the school, not like in the court system, but like a hearing through the court, through the school. So, girl, and they went to 2 different schools. That's the other thing. They went to 2 different schools. This is a case that I'm going to follow, just like I've been following the Diddy Child's girl. But this is a case I'm going to follow to continue to give you updates on, because I do think it's interesting, and I'm just praying that, you know, I'm not going to put my total 2 cents in about it, but I know that this is a very controversial case. I'm going to stand by Karmelo. I'm standing by Karmelo. From the information I've heard, I'm going to stand by him. Whether people agree or disagree. Because I can see how all of this played out from what I've heard. I can see how all of this played out. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below about the Hannah Cobb situation, about Karmelo Anthony. We can agree to disagree. I don't care. I just want y'all to engage. Like, comment, and subscribe to the video. And I will see you guys later. Bye.